Now the latest on a Madison homicide investigation. We'll hear from someone close to the victim's family as they deal with this tragic loss.
And with Christmas Eve and Christmas right around the corner, what can we expect? Cloudy and mild temperatures when the inevitable cool down returns in the full forecast.
Plus, the woman who almost killed her classmate to please the fictional character Slender Man learns where she will be going next. And we welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Thanks so much and good evening. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric Franke is off tonight. A local high school sports star and first-generation American was shot and killed over last weekend. It happened near Portage Road in Madison Saturday night. Our Tanisha Shaw is joining us with more. And Tanisha, you spoke to a family friend?
Hi, Sarah. Yes, and the Gambian community is very close. And right now, local Gambian Americans and other people in Madison are mourning the loss of Abubakar Dabo, who is better known to his family as Booba. At 22 years old, he's leaving behind a promising future.
We are a community here that is, in many cases, very close.
Samba Balde is a former state rep and a family friend of Abubakar Dabo. Balde watched Bado, or as his family knows him, Booba, grow up. Bado graduated from Madison East High School and was born in Gambia before moving to America, where he would constantly excel as a first-generation American.
Immigrating is a challenge. So to come here, be able to do school, not only do school, but be successful in school. Not only do school, but also do extracurricular activities. Like you mentioned, he was a good athlete, played soccer. Many of the people knows him that way. Not only do those things, but also give back to the community. He volunteered. He brought many young people together.
Bado's dreams and aspirations cut short after being shot Saturday night. He was visiting home during a winter break from his classes at Vanderbilt University in Tennessee.
He came for the holidays just 3 days before he was shot.
On Saturday, he was alongside his two brothers in Madison. One of them shot as well.
He, Saturday, he was chatting with his mom until around 7:45 p.m. And so I think that's where he was going to visit with his two other siblings who were in the car with him. So about an hour and a half or 2 hours, the mom got a call that, this is what happened.
The Madison Police Department say a man at the scene drove 22-year-old Dabo and his brother to the hospital, but his brother survived and is now out of the hospital.
Everybody knows, at least from every indication, that Booba was not part of anything illegal. And so this may have just been a mistaken identity or a situation where there were no bad intentions intended.
This happening months before Dabo would have walked across the stage and graduated at Vanderbilt in May.
This is very sad, it's unfortunate, but as people of faith also, particularly as Muslims, God knows best what he does.
Right now, there are two persons of interest in custody connected to this case, but charges have not been filed yet. The family is raising more money towards a charity and orphanage to honor Dabo in Gambia right now. We have that link on our website right now as well.
All right, thank you so much, Tanisha. In other news of the day, a judge is sending the so-called Slender Man attacker back to a state psychiatric hospital. The order comes after Morgan Geyser escaped from her group home in Madison last month. A Waukesha County Circuit judge granted a request from the State Department of Health Services to revoke Geyser's release privileges. Last week, Geyser said she would not fight that revocation. One person is displaced after a fire at a multifamily residence last night in Sun Prairie. It happened on Athletic Way. Firefighters were able to put out the fire with a water can on the building's second floor. At first, several animals were unaccounted for, but luckily were later found and returned to homeowners. Initial damage estimates for this building around $20,000. No injuries to report, luckily, and the cause is under investigation. Turning to weather now, everybody is talking about what will it be like for the holidays and after that. And we have Blaze Keller here with the latest.
That's right. Much like today, we got into the 40s. We're going to do that again tomorrow and continue into not only Christmas, but further into Friday and then into Saturday as well. Still holding on to the 30s for the most part across all of southern Wisconsin. It's 40 in Monroe, 37 in Prairie du Chien, 32 in Madison, 35 in Camp Douglas, and 36 in the Dells. Now, we could wake up to some fog come Christmas Eve morning and Christmas morning. So if you're up really, really early on Christmas Eve, that's when we'll likely be dealing with the most fog. It should be out of here by the late morning hours, but maybe just a few patches here and there. As we look ahead to Christmas morning, that's when we'll likely have more areas underneath the dense fog through at least 8, 9 o'clock on Christmas morning. And then by the time we go into the 10, 11 o'clock time frame, a lot of that fog moves on out. So keep that in mind if you are going to be bringing in family or friends, or you're going to be going to visit family and friends throughout the day on Christmas, especially in the morning hours. Upper 30s to low 40s, both days mostly cloudy, and both days we could be dealing with some light rain, especially Christmas Eve, and then to end Christmas going into Friday. We'll take a look at that rain-snow mix chance as well as the cooler temperatures that arrive for the end of December in the full forecast.
So much, Blaze. In other local news, the Sun Prairie Area School District's superintendent is leaving his position. Dr. Brad Sarin, who previously led the Chippewa Falls district from 2013 to 15, is returning to Chippewa Falls. He led the Sun Prairie School District since 2015 and will continue in this role till the end of the school year. He will officially begin work in Chippewa Falls July 1st. His tenure in Sun Prairie has been marred in the last several years by scandals, the most recent being the arrest of West High School Dean Robert Gilkey Meisegeier, who was accused of having sexual contact with students, as well as taking non-consensual photos of people using school surveillance cameras. Back in October, the district's electors voted no confidence in Sarin's leadership. A display airplane at the Stoughton VFW is almost fully repaired after it was damaged in a hit and run last December. VFW Post 328 Commander Rob Drogsveld says they've been finding parts and pieces from all over with a big help from the 115th Air Wing. One of the final touches came from Nebraska.
This guy from Nebraska found me reaching out on Facebook through a couple aviation Facebook pages, and he got a hold of my email account, and he's just like, hey man, I got a tank for you. I went down, we went down there in the worst storm, one of the worst storms in Iowa's history, not this last Saturday, but the weekend before that. And it was a horrible trip, but we came back with a tank, and grateful for Jeff King, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Working together, a final piece still needed, including 2 bolts inside the craft and some fresh paint come spring. Members of the Wisconsin legislature are home for the holidays, but will be back to continue their session in the new year. In 2026, News 3 Now will be looking over Wisconsinites' top concerns politically and then seeing whether lawmakers address them. In year-ender interviews with leaders of the state Senate, our For the Record host, Ellie LaLiberte, had senators grade their progress so far this session.
I would probably give it a D. Honestly, we haven't been in that often. We've only been, I think, 9 times on the floor this session. We're really not meeting the moment about rising costs and affordability.
I'd give us a solid B, B+. We got a budget done. We've gotten a whole slew of bills on the governor's desk, some that he signed, some that he's vetoed. But I think we're moving forward in a good fashion.
So to see what Senate leaders would do to move their House closer to an A, you can tune in to For the Record this Sunday. It airs at 10:30 a.m. right after CBS News Face the Nation. Coming up next on our show, how a little bit of holiday kindness can go a long way health-wise. Plus, the Food and Drug Administration approved the first prescription pill for weight loss, what the initial costs will be.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Well, we all know it's the time of year for spreading goodwill. And showing kindness not only helps others, but experts say it can also benefit you. According to health experts, when positivity floods our brain, it can release feel-good hormones like dopamine and serotonin. It can also actually disrupt pain pathways to reduce your overall perception of that pain.
To treat any kind of condition, it's more than just medications and interventions. It needs to be treated holistically because life outside of an appointment room or a hospital is quite large, and we can't always control all of that with a medication or a specific treatment.
It is so true. He also says being kind can increase levels of hormones like oxytocin, with that can dilate blood vessels and lower blood pressure. The best part is the act of kindness that may bring relief can also be simple, like getting involved in the community, volunteering, giving financially, or giving your time to help others. Even just saying hello or greeting someone can go a long way. The Food and Drug Administration has approved a daily pill of the weight loss drug Wegovy. Currently, patients get weekly injections of this drug. The company Novo Nordisk said that the pill version had about the same weight loss and side effects in clinical trials as the shot. The company's lead doctor said the FDA's decision is an alternative for patients who don't like getting the shots.
I do think that having an oral option will be really helpful, one for improving access, but also as another tool that we can offer patients.
The initial cost of the Wegovy pill is expected to be about $149 for patients paying out of pocket. That figure is expected to rise as patients increase their dosage. Novo Nordisk said the pill should become available by prescription next month. Still ahead, a Christmas tradition celebrates a big anniversary. Plus, Monona residents give Santa Claus a proper send-off as he prepares for the big day. Also, just how warm will it get this Christmas? Blaze returns with the forecast details.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Guess what, everybody? The Powerball jackpot continues to climb because nobody won last night's drawing. The next drawing on Christmas Eve, that's tomorrow, I believe, is expected to have the fourth largest prize in lottery history, an eye-popping $1.7 billion. This is the 46th drawing without a winner. And while there was no jackpot winner, we did have two people in southern Wisconsin waking up with extra cash in the bank. A $150,000 ticket was sold in Janesville and a $50,000 ticket was sold in Madison. Well, the temperature is staying very mild for Santa this week. Here's Blaze with our full Christmas forecast.
Yes, it is going to be a mild Christmas this year. 30s and 40s. Probably not going to be a whole lot of snow on the ground by the time we get to Christmas, unfortunately. Maybe unofficially it will be white in your house or in your yard. Maybe there will be some snow left. But we'll talk about in just a moment the statistics on which counties typically have a white Christmas. And again, our official reading will come from the Dane County Regional Airport at their site. So we're going to hang out in the 20s tonight underneath mostly cloudy conditions. Patchy fog will be possible as mild air continues to sit overhead. We're back into the 40s for Christmas Eve. A little bit cooler on Christmas, but not by a whole lot, maybe just a few degrees as winds turn from the south tomorrow to the north on Christmas Day. A little bit of rain may be possible as we go into the mid to late afternoon hours. We're at 6 o'clock on Future Track Christmas Eve. That's when those rain showers will start to pop on up. Light to moderate at times, probably less than a half an inch of rain. Those push off to the east as we go overnight into Christmas. Could wake up to some morning fog. Winds have turned out of the north, still keeping with the mostly cloudy conditions. That'll make for a slightly cooler day. Upper 30s to low 40s as opposed to the low to mid 40s on Christmas Eve. As we look ahead to Christmas night into Friday, winds turn back out of the south, and that means another chance for a light rain snow mix. North of the Dells, that's where some of us may be dealing with some patchy ice, looking at a couple hundredths of an inch at best. Temperatures on Friday will get back above freezing and will stay there into Saturday. So I don't think that the ice is going to be much of an issue other than just some slick spots Friday morning. Upper 30s to low 40s, mostly cloudy, and some light rain possible, as well as some fog, both Christmas Eve and Christmas. Again, this year it's just going to be a mild one. We've been in the 40s before. We've been in the 50s before. We've also been not even above zero in previous Christmases. So we kind of have running the gambit here across southern Wisconsin. But our friends at the Wisconsin State Climatology Office did a little bit of research from 1991 through 2020 to see per county, what is the historical probability of having at least an inch of snow on the ground on December 25th? For most of our coverage area, it's about a 50 to 60% chance. When you get closer to, say, Lake Michigan, folks in Jefferson, Rock and Walworth counties, because of those warmer Lake Michigan waters, tends to be a little less than half, about 40%. Unless you're up there in Ashland County, that's where it's up to about 90% of the time we have a white Christmas. So with temperatures in the 30s and 40s, it's probably just not going to be likely this year officially, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. If you've been itching for the return of winter, I know you're out there. Temperatures return back to the winter-like 20s, but I don't think we're really going to see any big prolonged cool downs, any of those quintessential really cold weeks of winter quite yet. We're looking to remain warmer than average there as we go into the start of January. There's a look at our 7 and 10 day forecast. Some morning mixed precipitation on Friday and maybe some overnight snow later next week. But for now, it looks like we'll be quietly ringing in 2026.
Hard to believe. Thank you, Blaze. Well, even though Santa Claus can see you when you're sleeping and he knows when you're awake, he still needs some help from those elves. Elf on the Shelf was created 20 years ago, and since then, more than 31 million Scout elves, elf pets, and elf mates have been sold. This is according to the Lumistella Company. Needless to say, it's become a serious Christmas tradition for many children and parents. Yvonne Rodriguez reports on how it all began and what it means to families today.
For hundreds of years, it's been a big secret.
This Christmas, there's a new tradition for Diana Zito and her family.
It now can be shared if you promise to keep it.
His name is Doodles, their elf on the shelf.
My mom thought of it, and she thought it would be a good name.
The Zitos welcomed Doodles into their home after being inspired by the elves in their son Luca's school. The elves are set up in different scenarios daily to help Santa monitor who's being naughty and who's being nice.
One of his friends actually said, well, I just thought everyone had an elf. And so we were a little bit peer pressured into it. But I think that's just, it's a testament. It just speaks to how much of a Christmas tradition it has become.
20 years ago in Marietta, Georgia, Shanda Bell and her family created the new tradition Elf on the Shelf that has since cemented itself into Christmas lore.
I was sitting with my mom having tea one day, and I looked up and I saw our elf that we grew up with sitting on a shelf. And I said, Mom, we should write a story about our elf.
That idea led them into the Santaverse, creating stories of Santa's North Pole for books, animated series, and fly up north to see Saint Nick, and games. Their impact can be seen through the troves of letters children mail in during Christmas.
So some of them are letters to kids from Santa Claus. Some of them are from schools. This one asks us to please don't cancel Christmas. But it says you bring joy to our world, right? And so I can't imagine anything more special than that.
In the decades ahead, Bell hopes to bring more joy to families through their stories without losing sight of the original magic that helped them win the hearts of many.
We take that with a lot of responsibility. We understand that we're the voice of Santa Claus for an entire generation of families.
All right, you want to go look at him? Hey, Doodles.
In the end, there's no greater joy for a parent than seeing their children happy on Christmas.
When they come running in our room and say, we found the elf, Doodles is here, Doodles is there. They've just really enjoyed it, and I think it definitely will become a tradition in our house. We'll have Doodles back next year and beyond.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
And I can tell you that our elf, my kids are 18 and 20, so this was pretty new when it started, still watching, just so everybody knows.
Yes.
They're always watching whether they're on the shelf or not.
Yeah, I like elves, so it's pretty cute.
It is. And we've got sports coming up next.
Yes, definitely. Next, coming up in sports, how the Badgers are doing after last night's win. That and more next on News 3 Now. Well, after last night's win, the Badgers remain perfect in the Kohl Center, undefeated this season, and they plan to keep it that way with 4 straight games in the Kohl Center after the holidays. Showing that they can rally together these past 2 games has helped the Badgers find their flow on the defensive side and lean on their bench in the absence of John Blackwell last night. But this Badgers team believes it's not about how you start, but about how you finish.
Not everything's just going to go so well at the beginning. Obviously, you want to play your best ball in March, so we're getting the kinks out now. Obviously, there's other teams that are playing great basketball. They figured it out early. But what I see in practice every day, I'm not too worried with what we got. I know we're going to figure it out, and like I said, we'll play our best basketball in March when needed. Yeah.
And while finding their place on the court, one Badger is finding his place in the community this holiday season. Senior Nick Boyd hosted a holiday jacket drive for kids in mentoring positives in the Boys and Girls Club. Boyd covered the cost of all 30 kids to attend the game last night and gave them jackets, autographs, and cool hats after the game to spread some Christmas cheer.
Christmas is one of my favorite holidays, so I'm excited to do this and make an impact as small or big as I can in the Madison community. So I'm just grateful, I'm blessed, and it's a perfect opportunity with the Christmas spirit and the Christmas time to give back in a small way by handing out some coats and inviting the kids to the game.
And keeping things merry and bright, the Packers still have a chance to make the playoffs despite the loss this past weekend against the Bears. The biggest concern is the loss of quarterback Jordan Love and backup quarterback Malik Willis. They both were limited today at practice. And with a must-win matchup against the Baltimore Ravens coming up, head coach Matt LaFleur is focusing on moving full speed ahead and finishing the season with tunnel vision.
I think that's a point that's been driven home all season long. It's just you can't let up for 1 second, because if you do, and I mean we've seen it both ways, where it totally impacts the game. So you just got to stay in the fight, and you got to keep swinging until they tell you to stop swinging.
All right, final check on our forecast. A beautiful one, huh?
Yeah, Christmas Eve and Christmas, both mild, both with fog in the morning, upper 30s to low 40s. We'll stay there through Saturday. Enjoy the warmth, because Sunday onward, at least for now, is going to be cooler, so it looks like we'll ring in the new year in the 20s.
Sounds great. Thank you, Blaze. And thanks so much for watching News 3 Now at 6. We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock. Have a great night.